It's Firhill for thrills, but for Brian Graham it's also Firhill for responsibilities. Not only is he Partick Thistle's main striker and captain, he also just happens to be co-interim boss with Mark Wilson, who, by the way, is also under-18s coach. But one of Scottish football's most prolific goal scorers is taking it all in his stride. He's loving every one of his duties for Thistle. I'm Derek McGregor and this is One on One. And Brian's answers are as clinical as he generally is every week in front of goal. Brian, there's people questioning your commitment to Partick Thistle. I mean, apart from being co-interim boss, captain, main goal scorer and also head of the women's team, there are those that are wondering what you really do for the club, especially at a time when there's floors need swept, bins need emptied, dishes done. Can you explain yourself?
Oh, there was the best thing I seen actually was on Twitter. I know it's not called that anymore, but Brian Graham, when he walks into Partick Thistle, it's a guy from Burniston. I'll do it. And my wife showed me it. Honestly, I was in hysterics. I couldn't believe what I was watching, but it was hilarious to actually just see that, because it has been over the last 4.5 years. Obviously, doing the women playing, my life has been hectic, but it's been really enjoyable. And I always worried when I was getting into the women's side that, if I don't start scoring on a Saturday, I was doing too much with the women. So that self-doubt was always there as well. Aye. But it's went hand in hand. Obviously the girls have progressed and now established SWPL 1 club, and I'm 4 goals away from 100 for the men's team, so I think they've worked hand in hand. Inevitably
you must have had spells where the women's team's doing fine, but you're suffering a bit of a famine for goals in the first team.
Aye, there's that doubt, but there's nothing better when you walk into the women's changing room on a Sunday and they'll give you a bit of stick. Oh, you never scored yesterday. So that helps. And obviously when you get to my age, you use the Sunday as an active recovery. So it's been very beneficial for me over the last couple of years.
I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, it's a phenomenal responsibility you've taken on for the club. But I always get the impression, Brian, with Partick Thistle, there are so many people at this club that will muck in and do whatever it takes.
No, definitely, and I think the biggest one, I'll go back to the very start when obviously I'd come down for Ross County in the Premier League and signed for Ian McCall in January, played 3 games, I scored 2 goals, and then we were relegated because of COVID. And everybody thought, I remember the kit man was actually talking to me this the other day, because obviously he took everybody's big bags of kit, trainers and boots and stuff like that, brought it to my door and he's like, it was nice meeting you, because he's like, I was sure you were gone. But I just felt the unjust. I was like, I'm getting this club back up, and took a massive pay cut again. Like, took a pay cut to come, pay cut to go down again. But I didn't want to leave. It was a family decision to come down the road. It meant I could put my kids to bed at night, could take them to school, and I could be at the local club. And over the last 5 years, it was the best decision I ever made.
I mean, this club's really got you, isn't it? I mean, I think looking at your career, Brian, and you've been far and wide. I think this is now the longest continuous spell you've had at one club.
No, it's been incredible.
5 years and a few months.
Yeah,
3 spells.
When you sign at 32 years of age, people will also say you're done at that age. As soon as you hit 30, people will start doubting you and say you're finished. But at 32 years of age, I don't think many people would have imagined how it was going to go for me at this football club. I'm 37 now and I'm 4 goals away from 100 for the club, so it's been phenomenal for me personally. But when you come into a place like this, you just fall in love with it, and the people running about it, even to the ground staff, I got on great with everybody at the football club. And obviously there's been a few changes over the years up the stairs, but listen, that's what happens in football clubs. Ian McCall, Alan Archibald and Scally brought me to the football club, got on great with them. I was gutted to see them lose their job, and then Chris' first job as a manager, got on really well with him and Paul as well, so you're disappointed when they lose their job, but it's part and parcel of the game we've been in, the game we love so much. It is a ruthless business, and it's just the harsh reality of it sometimes. This
is one of Scottish football's real great historical clubs, isn't it? I mean, it's something special about Partick Thistle.
No, definitely, and when we went down to League One, I always wanted to get them back to the Premier League. That was my goal, and I've not really said this to many people. I had actually had a chat with Chris about it at the beginning of the year, like 2 years left in my playing contract. I wanted to win the league this year and go and finish and retire in the Premier League. Obviously we know we're not going to win the league, but we're still going to keep fighting for that promotion. We need to finish in the playoffs to give ourselves the best chance. Obviously we had that day in Dingwall, which we'll never ever forget, but listen, again, it's football, it's a cruel business, but it is what it is. We need to move on.
That was brutal, that afternoon for you. It must have been for you and everyone else associated with Partick Thistle. Is that the most gut-wrenching day of your career?
That day will never leave me, ever. To the day I leave this earth, like that journey on the bus after the game, that's one of the worst I've ever experienced in my life. And everything's so rosy at half-time. You're 3-0 up in aggregate. Obviously, you look back, give you a change, wait a back five after they scored the first goal. You start thinking about what if we could have done this, did that. We didn't. We had an opportunity to win it in extra time, and then it goes to penalties. And Big Laidlaw, who I played with at 3 different clubs, he came through as a young boy with me at Rafe Rovers, and he's 6'4" or something. He's jumping up and down the line. He's telling me, "You're going there," and I say, "I know I'm going there. I used to practice with him every day." And he's telling me, "You're going there." I'm like, "You're right, Biggie. I'm not changing my mind." So I was panicking, like, he's going to save us. He knows where I'm going. All these wee self-doubts going through your mind, but luckily it went in. But it wasn't to be all day.
At half time, were you allowing yourself to think we're going up?
No, I think the boys were.
You try to keep focused.
The boys were buoyant in the changing room, but the mindset was, it's not done yet. There's 45 minutes to go. But as soon as you lose these 2 goals in quick succession, it just was like a tidal wave. Ross County got the belief back, and they went on. He could take his extra time, but you've seen 2 teams. It was like 2 boxers in the 12th round. The two teams were absolutely knackered. Especially us with the amount of games we'd played as well, and the season that Ross County had. That was just one of those days, as I say, that will love me until the day I leave this earth.
I mean, you can see what this club means to you when you play, your goal celebrations, but just generally you're all in. You're emotive, you're verbal, and you're very much a self-motivator, aren't you?
I'm a very passionate person. Listen, I can come across as Jekyll and Hyde. Some people probably see me as this big moaning face git at times and moaning at referees, but if I'm being really honest with you, I'm just a winner. I want to win. It doesn't matter if I'm at the back with the kids or I'm playing a 6-a-sides with the boys in training. I want to win at everything I do. Listen, I know that's not possible, but that's just always been my mindset. And I'm very driven, and I want the best out of my club and my teammates to try and succeed, because that's what football's all about. When you hang up your boots, people look back and see what you've done in your career, and you want to leave a mark in this game.
How did it affect you here when Chris Doolan lost his job?
I was gutted. I phoned them, because obviously we didn't know anything about it. Myself and Mark, I didn't even know Mark had a message. So I received a text message in the morning, "Can you come in for a meeting at 9:20 on a Tuesday?" I'm thinking, what have I done? I'm getting disciplined here. This is a bit odd. Because obviously the manager and Paul took training on the Monday, so after the weekend result, if we felt as if players' effect was going to happen, it probably happened on the Monday. But it didn't, so when we got that message, I got into the office first. One of the boys in the office, I was waiting on the chairman and the chief exec coming in. Before they came in, Mark walked in, and the penny dropped right away. As soon as I seen Mark, I knew it was coming next. And then about 30 seconds later, the two came into the room and told us what had just happened, that the manager and Paul had lost their jobs, and could we step up to take the team for this week. So it was then, it was like a switch. You had to just, right, we need to go and do a session plan, we need to get today's session up and running. We did that. The chairman spoke to the players, me and Mark spoke to the players, and then we had to go to training. So I phoned Chris and Paul in the afternoon, spoke to them, and then I was in here on the Wednesday, and Chris was in here on the Wednesday, so I spoke to him as well. I got to see him as well. So, and I was gutted for him, because the guy scored 121 goals for this football club.
Phenomenal.
Absolutely incredible over the years, and he was loved about here. But I'll go back to what I said to you earlier. It's so ruthless, this business, and that's the nature of the game. We're all involved in, we all love it. But as I said, I seen him and I was gutted for him, but football moves very quickly.
Was there any sense of awkwardness, Brian, for you, or indeed Mark Wilson in taking over? Was there a sense that, did you want to hear Chris's blessing that he was okay with you coming in, or?
No, I phoned him.
Did he just totally understand?
I phoned him totally out of respect. Listen, he made me captain of this football club, so first and foremost I thanked him for that, and I said to him and Paul, I'm really sorry to see both of you lose their job. The two of them were absolutely brilliant with me on the phone. Paul said, you've been brilliant for us, scored a lot of goals, and Chris thanked me as well. So there's that mutual respect, nothing but respect for the two guys. Paul said, you're coming to this spell of your career where you're moving into the next chapter, so best of luck with it. Go and do as best as you possibly can. So listen, the two guys were excellent to me when I spoke to them.
I mean, I'm obviously, earlier on I was talking about all the responsibilities you've got. Mark, to be fair, is, under 18s coach as well. The two of you are totally committed, So it's is Mark very much of the attitude of yourself that whatever it takes, we're all in. We're doing our best, you know.
Yeah, Mark's been absolutely great, and me and Mark played with each other at Dundee United. Used to travel in the car, so I've known Mark for over 10 years now, and I know what he's like as a person. Fantastic man, and when the two of us got asked to do the role, it was a no-brainer. You're not going to, when the club needs you, you're standing up to help. But the two of us, like, we were away to Livingston last week to watch the game, then we were at Queen's Park earlier all night. All these things have happened in a short period of time where he's still trying to fit in the under-18s. I'm still speaking to the women's and going to sessions when I can make it. Obviously, I'm still going to the games on a Sunday. It's all hands to the pump, but that's what makes Partick Thistle Partick Thistle.
Must have been difficult for you, Brian, as a striker at Dundee United, waiting for the ball to come in from Mark, because you don't know when it's coming, you don't know how it's coming, you know.
It was his knee trying to get up the line. He's dodgy knees.
Only kidding, Mark, only kidding.
No, Mark was great, and I still remember we were in the Scottish Cup final. I remember going a walk. We'd left I think it was the Marriott Hotel, we stayed in Glasgow. And the twos, we still didn't know the team. We were like, do you think you're playing? Do you think I'm playing? Twos were subs. But listen, that's there. Neither here nor there.
How is it, especially for you, Brian, how is it now that you're effectively, you know, your co-manager, keeping that distance from guys who are going to be close friends and clearly still teammates? Is it difficult maintaining that wee kind of, that gap, that wee distance?
No, you've still got to speak to the players on one-to-one basis, and the group. Listen, things could change in a month's time and I'm back in the changing room as a player, but I'll be honest, I have distanced myself a little bit, because myself and Mark are going to make decisions that some of them are not going to like. But that's just football. Me and Mark will see a game and it might be a different personnel for a different game, but every footballer wants to play football, so there'll be people not happy that they're not playing, there'll be people happy they are playing, but it might change week to week depending on who we're playing. So listen, that's the nature of the beast, that's the nature of a manager's job, and making hard decisions, but that's where I want to see myself, and I'm happy with that. I'm fine with making hard decisions, and we need everybody on board, we need everybody pulling in one direction, we need the supporters to help us as well. Match days, I thought they were excellent. The last two home games, disappointed we never won both games. We probably, in the Airdrie game first half, we should be more than one up, and then I had a header in the second half against Livingston. I said that to the boys after the game, like, you need to look inwards. I'm still part of the team, I'm still a teammate of his, and I should probably make it 2-0. We then make a mistake and we lose a goal, but it's a collective, it's not an individual game. Football, you're not playing tennis, it's just you out there in the court, it's you and everybody else in the squad. Everybody needs to pull their weight.
I watched the Livingston game and I thought it was excellent, because it was also the fans made a point of making their feelings clear about Chris.
Brilliant.
You know, a banner. You could tell how much they were getting behind you and Mark.
No, listen, I seen that banner as well, and that's what Chris Dillon meant to the fans at this football club, and it was a real touch of class for the fans to do that. But you could also hear the support, because listen, they're Partick Thistle fans. It doesn't matter who's in the dugout, if it's me and Mark or somebody else, they're going to back the football club, and that's rightly so. So when it's not going well, they're going to let their voices be heard. When it's going well, they're going to get right behind you. So our job is to make sure it goes well.
I've always thought Partick Thistle fans are a kind of special breed. They've got a couple in the office, you know, absolute diehards. They will not see past Partick Thistle, no matter what. And there's been so much happening with this club over decades. But, you know, there's always that ambition, you know, and I think deep down, even people who support other clubs have still got a wee kind of liking for Partick Thistle. It's that kind of club.
No, it is, but even go back to when Alan Archibald got them into the Premier League, top 6. He was another player, club legend, and went on to manage the club, so there is that special feeling. And when things are going, even when we won League One, it was COVID, nobody should have been here. We were up in the canal, we were out in the Firhill Road there when we won the league, and smoke bombs were going off, everybody was celebrating. So even though it was League One, it still meant so much to them to get back up after the difficulty of getting put down through COVID. But that's when you're invested in a football club, it's your life, and that many people that come here, that is their life.
As we speak, the board have announced that they're prioritising the search for a sporting director, and they've asked you and Mark to carry on, certainly at least until the end of this month. How does that make you feel about the situation? Is it the two of you get a realism about the situation as well?
Of course, you've got to be realistic in this game, and I think what's also is really important is it gives clarity for the players.
Yeah.
The players then, right, Mark and Brian are taking it till the end of the month, try to get a sporting director in, and then the club will move forward. Me and Mark know where we are. we'll do everything in our powers to keep them in the 4th position. Need to try and win football matches, starting again against Queen's Park, get Hampden on Tuesday night. But we'll continue to take on the job while we're asked and try and do the best to our abilities for the football club.
Have you at any point had any conversations about, look, the longer this goes on, do we put ourselves forward as potential permanent candidates?
If I'm being really honest with you, me and Mark have not even had that conversation. We've not even thought about that further down the line. Listen, we might do well and get into the playoffs, and you never know what can happen once you're in the playoffs. So, but you can never, in this game, you can't think too far ahead. To be fair, it's unfair of me to ask you to speak for Mark. Mark obviously can speak for himself, but now speaking to yourself just now, I mean, you're on record as saying you want to be a manager. I am, but
so you wouldn't totally rule out the moment coming where you're putting yourself forward for it. I
don't think a man in my position at 37 years of age could ever rule themselves out of it. I'm not shouting from the rooftops that I definitely want it, but while I'm in charge with Mark and the club are asking me help, I'll do it until they tell me otherwise. It's as simple as that.
What's an average day for you? What time are you coming in at now?
Now I'm in for the back 8, and then do like today, so I've done training this morning, come in and spoke to you guys, then
thanks for making the time for us, by the way. You've done well. If
I'm lucky, I might make the school run, and then it'll be my wee boys' football, and then I need to go along back to Petershill tonight for the women's team coming in. I'll not be there for the full session. I'll probably stay for an hour, if I'm being honest with you, and then I'll go pick my wee boy up and take him home, and then it'll be right, start chilling out now and go again tomorrow. I did see a recent interview where you were talking about how you take the boys swimming. I mean, did you feel guilty you'd neglected Partick Thistle in that time? To be honest, like, we hadn't done it for like so long because I was just so busy, and obviously the loan window was still open, so you were trying to speak to other clubs, trying to bring players into the football club. Obviously with one moving out on loan, Aaron Muirhead, we managed to sign a goalkeeper from Rangers. We signed 2 free agents, and Sean Kelly and Alec Hibs, which was in our eyes good business because they know the league, they've played higher, and it's nothing better. And a couple of fresh faces to the squad, it just brings that competition for places up. Your boy Daniel and daughter Sophia? Yep. Well, given so much you've got on your plate, did they ever come up to you and go, "Hi Dad, I'm your daughter, I'm your son," just to remind you, Dad, you know? So even your wife, of course. My wee boy, he enjoys playing darts. So before the Livingston game, he's like, "Come on, we'll have a game of darts." So we play 5-01, we've got the score on the phone. And I had a 1-2-7 check 20-19 bull. And he looked at me and went, "If you're going to keep playing like that, I'm not playing you again." Because he'd beat me 3-0 the previous night. And that riled you? And that riled me a wee bit. But that 1-2-7 check-out, that was just pure luck. I was down at Rotherham last week seeing Steve Evans, and he was telling me he refuses to even let his grandson win games. I'm going, "Steve, really? I mean, really?" I'm the same with Dan. I try my best, because then if I beat him at darts, I'll go, "Good game." Just to like, and then I can see the wee green eye monster coming out on him, and he'll try and have a wee dig at me and have a laugh. But my daughter Sophia, she only sees me when I'm taking her to school the full last day, but she's a teenager. She doesn't really like to talk to me, so she comes in for school, goes up to her stair, the bedroom door's locked, so I hardly see her anyway. And the wife, me and her look passing ships in the night. I've got to say, but see when you came home, or you phoned her that particular day and said, you know, "Hi darling, I've taken on something else," she must have been going, What? She's just like, "You've done what?" She said, "I'm no surprised." She knows what I'm like as a guy, and listen, I like working. I don't really like sitting about the house. I get itchy feet when I'm in the house anyway. I get bored, but that's where the dog comes in. I've got a 2-year-old Cocker Spaniel, and he's very lively. He keeps me on my toes, so if I'm sitting bored in the house, I'll disappear with the dog for an hour. Your goal scoring record, Brian, phenomenal. I mean, in total, I think you're over 600 games. You're approaching 240 goals. You've got 96 for Partick Thistle. 10 games left of the season. You must be backing yourself to get to the 100 for Thistle this season. Yeah, well, I knew if I had 21 this season, I was getting 100. So we've got to 17. Still got games to go. So, listen, 194 games, Brian. That's a tremendous ratio. No, it's been brilliant. As I said to you earlier, at 32 years of age when I signed for this club, if you could have told me back then, you're going to go and play so many games, you're going to score over 100 goals, you're going to manage the women's team, you're going to be interim manager of the men's team, I'd have laughed at you. I would have laughed at you. I would have just thought, you're mental. But listen, that's how it's transparent, that's how it's went, and I wouldn't change any of it. I genuinely wouldn't change any of it. Even the disappointment at Ross County, that's part of the journey, and that's seeing life. You can't you can't change the past. The past is the past, but it's always about looking forward.
But do you agree, Brian, with the feeling that, you know, gut-wrenching disappointments are sometimes necessary because it helps, you know, bring further success? You're feeling how it impacts you, how it changes you. You know, you need to go through that. You can't just have a continuous success, really.
No, you've got to have the down moments as well in football. Even like losing the Scottish Cup final with Dundee United, I never won anything in my career until my 2 kids were born. Like, Sophia was obviously alive when we played with Dundee United in the cup final, but Daniel wasn't born yet. We lost that final. Daniel came along and then managed to win the League Cup with Ross County, won the Championship with Hibs, won the Championship with Ross County, Challenge Cup with Ross County, won League One with Thistle. So maybe it was meant to be once my wee family was settled that I started to win things, and I've got great pictures over the years, great memories to look back on when the time's right.
That League Cup success with Ross County was phenomenal. Jim McIntyre, Billy Dodds, you know, you beat Celtic in the semi-finals, you beat Hibs in the final. Is that the highlight? Is that the career highlight for you at the moment?
I think winning a trophy at Hampden as a wee local boy for Bumillock in Glasgow is up there, the pinnacle. I think that was... I just remember when the whistle blew and I was running in Hampden Tough with 2 arms aloft, and I was running halfway line looking at my family, tears were building up. It's a memory, like, so I've got that memory with Ross County that I'll never forget as well, and then I've also got the other one with Ross County where they beat me in the penalties to make the Premier League. So it's been a club that were absolutely brilliant with me as well. I loved my time at Ross County, and it just happened to be that they beat us in the penalties that day in the playoff.
I mean, football fate is incredible at times, isn't it? It really is. 19 years a player. I think you ever take 1 or 2 managers, I think it's about 14 you've had, 13, 14. Who are the guys that have stood out for you, Brian, that even now as you're taking the first steps as a manager, that have made the biggest mark for you?
I'll always go back to my first manager, Jim McInally. Him and Martin Clark, they took a chance on me. I got a trial, 3-game trial, and I managed to get a 2-year YTS deal out of it. And it always sticks to me this day. Martin said one thing to me and Jim said one thing to me. Jim's McInally said to me, "Can I teach what you've got?" And I was looking at him, he's like, "You're always in the right place at the right time to score a goal, son." That's always stuck with me. And the thing Martin Clark said to me, it's always stuck to me as well. He said, "It doesn't matter how you play." He said, "See if you score a goal, see in 30 years, son, they look back and see your name and scored the goal." They 2 things have stayed with me since that day. They told me that,
and they're spot on.
And they're so right. Jim was brilliant with me. He was a lovely guy. Clarkie was a lovely guy as well. So I got good grounding for a young age, and I knew with standards how they 2 guys were, how training was supposed to be, how the players were supposed to react to the management team. They were absolutely phenomenal with me. But then there's 2 other guys I need to give a mention to as well. John McGlynn at Raith Rovers, to a fine detail, like even before they brought in video analysis. I remember one time Dalgety Bay, so I was full time, but the squad was split. Some were full time, some were part time. So on a Monday I'd go to training. A Tuesday we'd go in the afternoon, get some tea, and then we'd go to Dalgety Bay at night for the part time boys coming. And it was as if you were back at school. He wheeled in the telly. Right? He's wheeled in the telly. I'm going, "What's going on here?" And he's got a wee handheld camera, plugs into 2 wires. He's got his wee pen at the back, wee laser pen. He's like, "Oh, can't see it, right? It's pitch black." I think it's a game for Albion Rovers. He can't hardly even see it. He's up the back of the stand with this wee camera and he's buzzing about with his wee laser pen. Right, "I need you here and I need you there." That was just John McGlynn. He was just brilliant, with a fine detail, and he knew the game inside out. But I think the best ever thing that happened to John, I don't think he'll mind me saying this, was going to Celtic as a scout and watching how Brendan Rodgers worked, because John's totally changed. Even my friend of mine, John Baird, he actually went back to play with John once he'd done that, and he says to me, "Brian, he's unbelievable now. He's absolutely unbelievable." And I thought he was unbelievable then. So, and obviously you go and see what he's done at Falkirk, how they've turned it around there, and he's up there top of the Championship. He's a fantastic manager. But the other one I need to give a mention to as well was Neil Lennon at Hibs.
You had 1 season with Neil at Hibs?
I had 1 season with him. He never played me a lot. He never played me a lot, but and I always remember one game we were playing Dunfermline away. I had a chance to make it 2-0. I missed it. He was up the other end. Louis Stevenson tripped somebody up and they got a penalty. We draw the game 1 each. So he comes in and I'm like, he starts going through me for not scoring the goal, right? I'm like, I've not give a penalty, mate. What are you shouting at me for? So I had a wee bit to and fro with him. And then
in front of the players?
In front of the players. The 2 were at each other in the changing room. And then in the Monday morning, Gary Parker's like me, "You better go and speak to the manager and apologise." So I went to go in his office, And he swore at me, right? She's like, get. So I'm like, no, I'm coming in. So I just goes in, and then he just changes, and he didn't mind that I had a bit of passion. He gets me back on side. I walk out feeling 10 feet tall.
Really?
I walk out of that office on the Monday. I was nearly swore there, sorry. I was scared. I was scared walking into the office, and then by the time I walked out, I felt 10 feet tall. I was like, run for a brick wall for this guy. He was just, his man management was unbelievable. He was brilliant. He really inspired us that year to go and win the league. And if it wasn't for him, I don't think we would have done it.
I mean, I look at your list of managers. I mean, some real good managers, proper managers. I would say, Tommy Wright, Neil McCall, and you've already mentioned Neil John McGlynn. Do you feel lucky when you reflect on it, the range and the kind of calibre of manager you work for?
No, I do, and there's also 2 young managers I worked for. The first one was Grant Murray, got his first job at Raith Rovers.
Yeah.
I managed to score 27 goals one year for him, and then when Chris, I managed to score a lot of goals for Chris as well, was their first manager's job. So I believe I've done they 2 well as well. So but they 2 younger guys, they got me as well. They believed in me, and they gave me that platform to just go and play and enjoy it. They didn't put too much pressure on me as well. They knew what I was like as a character, and they just let me go and express myself. So that also works with me as well. But I think the best to get out of me, I preferred when managers shouted at me.
Really?
I did. I was
just bollockings. You could take it and respond.
I could take it, and I maybe answer you back. I'm not saying I maybe answered you back at times, but then it was right. I'm going to show him. My attitude was right. I'm going to show him. And then if you go and score a goal, you get the equaliser or whatever, and then you're all celebrating together, and then everything's forgot about. So that kind of gets me going.
After you scored, would you look at the dugout as if to say, "Aye, how'd you like them?"
A couple of times, aye. A couple of times. But that was just me. People probably looked as if, aye, that's not right, you shouldn't be doing that. But the managers that I've worked with, they knew what I was like. I remember doing it with Tommy Wright, actually. It just came to my mind there.
That's brave.
I get put out of the team, and then we were playing Dundee, and we needed to beat them to get top 6 with St Johnstone. And I think Michael Harlan steals the ball, plays it to me, and I cut in and I bend it round Scott Bain. It was a fantastic finish, if I do say so myself. And I remember running up the touchline. I think I ran by him first. I ran by him a wee bit, and I went like that. But it wasn't really directed at him. It was mere, get in there, there
That's
you go.
how it was interpreted, was it?
No, because he never ever moaned at me about it. But in my head I was thinking to myself, when I watched it back, I went, what have I done there? But he never ever mentioned it to me. So I think he let me away with it, thank God, because I think if Big Tommy gets me in that room, I wouldn't get it out.
Oh, no. So here's a question for you. Now you're the manager. I mean, for all I know, even though you're just a few games in, you might have already experienced it. How do you deal with a player who maybe, like you, then challenges you in front of the rest of the players in the dressing room? Do you go, I respect that, or...?
No, I think I would never have done it to a manager in the changing room. There's got to be a line. So if a player comes for me in the changing room, then I would let them know that I'm in charge.
Aye.
And then I would also pull them individually and speak to them. Don't ever disrespect me or my staff. That's the way I am. Even, like, I've been doing the women's now for a number of years, and it'd be the same across the board. Like, if one of them were at a line, they would get told that that's not acceptable. And I'm a very honest guy. A spade's a spade with me, and that's why I like it. And I don't mind a bit of passion in players, because I think it brings out the best in them.
Which brings me to my next question, Brian. How is it difficult? How do you deal with the women's team as opposed to the men's team? Can it be difficult at times? Do you have to temper maybe your emotions, your reactions, how you speak to them? Or, is there any difference?
No, there's no difference if it's a male or female. They're people. You've got to know the person individually first and foremost. I think it doesn't matter if it's a girl or a man. Like, if I'm going to shout at you, for example, I maybe know your character, I maybe know you can take it, I maybe know that one can't take it. So it depends who the person is and what their character's like, and who will be able to take a rollicking and who will actually benefit with, right, come on, have a chat, have a wee conversation, because I think that's so important, especially in today's game, that you need to get to know them. Forget their football abilities, forget their footballs, get to know them as an individual, get to know their characters. How can you get the best out of them? I think that's so important.
When you're 4.5 years with the women's team, and you've got every right to feel proud of the work you've done. You came in initially with Richard Foster and Ross Docherty. You've had a promotion, you've had 2 top 6s, a cup final. And the one thing that's clear is you've tried to raise the bar every time, professionalism on and off.
I think that was the first thing when we went in, that we wanted to make. We knew they were part-time, we knew it was amateur. They only trained 2 nights at the beginning. We wanted to raise that. We ended up training 3 nights a week. We wanted the professionalism to be through the roof. We used to say to them, we know you're not full-time footballers, but we're going to act like full-time footballers. They would get their gym with enough field. We had a membership deal that we had with them, so some of the girls would go there on a Monday morning. They would obviously train with us Tuesday night, Wednesday and a Thursday evening, and then they would do something over the Friday and Saturday in between their work, and then they would come play on a Sunday. So we've now got the gym up at Peter's Hill for them, so on a Tuesday and a Wednesday night they'll go and do training, and then they're straight into the gym. It's just a bit, listen, we know Rome's not built in a day, but if we can get these wee things in place where we can make the players feel like full-time footballers, then it's only going to benefit them.
I mean, I think you've been fantastic for the Partick Thistle women's team, but I also think you've been fantastic for the Women's Premier League as well, the overall women's football scene, because you know, you're a top player, great career, and you bring credibility to it. You bring you really help promote it, Brian.
No, listen, I remember when I first took the women's job, and I'll not mention names, but there's a few people saying, what are you doing that for? If I'm going to be really honest here today, it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever done.
Let's be honest, obviously where you're from, you'll have long-term pals. Was there a bit of banter? Was there a bit of Mickey taking what you're doing?
Aye, there was a bit of Mickey taking, a couple of things I'll not repeat, but it's, as I just said to you, it's the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
I know I was putting a lot on my plate, but I realised at the stage of my career that I could go through my badges, I could get so much experience behind me. I said 2 top 6 finishes, getting to a cup final. Maybe that was when I probably reached the pinnacle and understanding, like, until the finances are really backed for the women's team, but that might take years. We still want finances for the men's side as well. We want everybody under, everything's been moved into the one bracket as well, so the girls are round about the place, the men's players, they all know them, they come to the home games as well, just try to make it that one big family, and everybody's got on board with it. Even on a Monday morning, you come into the changing room, the boys are asking, how was the game yesterday? There's a keen interest from the other players as well, and asking who played well, who didn't play well, and so it's been really good from that aspect. Like the men's side taking in, and go back to the cup final, full team were there, Chris and Paul as well, all the staff, everybody was along to support the women's team, so I think that was a real credit to the club as well.
That was one thing that struck me in the build-up to that game, Brian. You set the tone right away because you were insistent that, as far as you're concerned, this is a massive day, we're treating this seriously, and you wanted everyone kitted out as well. You wanted them to have the sense, this is big, and we're treating it big.
No, of course. I was lucky enough to play in cup finals myself, and obviously when you're, as a player, you were away getting your suit fitted, and we wanted the girls to make sure they had that special top, to make sure they were all together, all looked dressed well. We made sure we got pre-match on for them, team bus, going to a hotel, doing everything as a professional football club would, and some of the girls would never experience that, and we did it right. We gutted we never won the game, but I thought for the first 40 minutes I thought the girls were excellent. The goal Rachel Johnstone scores, and that's another moment, even though we didn't win the game, that moment will live me for the rest of my life. Like the celebration, there's pictures of it, like I loved it. I was so passionate about it, even as if I had just scored the goal. So you look behind and you've seen all the red and yellow fans going mental, and your mum and dad are in the crowd, and they're usually watching you run about the pitch, but now you're on the sideline as a manager, so it was still a good day. It wasn't a go our way, but if you put into the finances what Rangers had and how fit they are, and I think you can see the big difference this year. The top 5 this year have now been full time for over 2 years. They're so fit, they're so strong, they're athletic, and our girls are probably lacking a little bit in that. As much as we're trying to get the professionalism and everything done as a professional football club, when you're not in that building day to day and not getting the recovery, and then you're having to go to work, so they lack that wee bit. But listen, one day it might get there.
It's unmistakable what it means to you, and I get a real impression that taking on the women's team you feel is one of the best decisions you've made.
No, it definitely is. It's
what it's meant to and what it's brought to you as well.
I always wanted to get into the coaching side of it, but then as you're getting older, I was like, oh, no, I'll do something else when I retire. But Ian McCall was insistent, I think you should go for that. So Ian needs to get a special mention as well, because he said, I think you'd be good at that. And he spoke to Jackie Lowe, was the chairman at the time. I think you should speak to Brian and Ross about coming as a coach. And then we brought Richard in, because me and Ross didn't have any coaching badges, but Richard had his A licence at that time, and we're like, Richard, would you be interested in helping us out here? It'd be good for you've got the badges, it means I can go through my badges. And he was brilliant with that aspect as well, because you needed that for licensing purposes, and Fozzie get involved as well. So But Ian McCall, it was him that put my name forward for it, and look where I am now. It's been great.
Where are you just now with your coaching qualifications?
I've got my A licence. The next one is just a pro licence to get, so I'm only one away from having them all. So it's been good. Went through the C, the B, the A over the last 5 years. So it's been a lot of hard work as well. Because they're no easy. There's a lot. Bear in mind, I was on my A licence when we lost the playoff final. So I remember the Monday morning I had to go to the Orium after the Sunday game, travelling down the road. And I remember getting there, Richie Wilson and Chipper Brian Rice they were on the course, they were taking the course, and Big Chipper was brought. He was like, don't worry about it, you don't need to coach today. He said, thanks for coming, right? 10 minutes in, he's like, Brian, you're on. I went, what? You're on, hurry up, 10 minutes, go and geeze it. Just threw me on. He threw me in the deep end, but it made me had to think. It came out my wee days because I was walking about like Fartless Trance. I'm not going to lie, I was all over the place. So he told me 1 minute, you're no on, and then 10 minutes later, right, you're on, hurry up. I'm like, then you just need to get coaching head on, then you try to think about that, all that sort of side of it. So no, they were brilliant with me over the years doing the coaching badges.
So you signed up for the pro licence, or are you
No, that's the next one in the pipeline, so I'll probably sign up for that when the next registration. But you need to be accepted. Obviously, I don't know if they've changed it, because I think it used to be only once every year. It was only 20 candidates got onto it.
Aye.
So, but I think they've done another one. But I don't know if they just done that for Stephen A. Smith, because obviously he was at Hearts manager at the time and then he needed his pro licence for when they were in Europe. But if it's just one a year, then you just need to apply for it, and then you need to be lucky enough to get accepted on it.
So you've got a year left as a player contract here. Do you, look, obviously we don't know what lies ahead in terms of the management situation, but do you physically feel you could carry on to 40 as a player?
Listen, I'm doing the pre-season and stuff like that. I'm always one of the fittest, and I'll back myself. I think the biggest thing I've done over the last couple of years, about 2 years now, on a Monday is just a recovery for me. I don't go into the training pitch, but obviously it's different now that you're coaching. So on Monday I was off feet, on the bike, in the gym, in the pool. I think that's really benefited me. But I've still done the hard session on the Tuesday, Thursday and Friday, still, because I love training. I don't like when I've no training. I do enjoy training. I like getting a real sweat up. You've got to have that enthusiasm for the game, and I've always had that.
The thing is, even more now, you won't want to see the rest of the players. There'll be a pride in you, won't you? You just want to, okay, I'm co-manager now, but I don't want to shut up. I'm still doing as much as anyone else.
You've got to be. Yeah. You've got to lead by example, and I think the players, they realise what I'm like, and they've responded really well to myself and Mark. I thought they were excellent for large parts of the game against Livingston. Just gutted that we didn't see it out, but we just got to keep improving on that. It's another big game coming up against Queen's Park, where myself and Matt obviously went along to watch the game, so we've took a couple of ideas out of that. We've done training obviously this week, and then there'll be the build up to Queen's Park and how we want to implement our style onto them.
Of course, another nice thing for you as well as your boy now is the middle of that stand, most home games.
Absolutely loves the club.
Score a goal. That must be fantastic, actually looking at him.
So
after you've scored.
I was looking for him. I always look for him, but I scored against Livingston because the week before he says to me, "You scored against Dundee. I'm standing right in front of me. He didn't even look at me." So I was actually looking for him against Livingston. I couldn't find him. He said, I stayed at the back this time because he never looked at me against Dundee. But he's Partick Thistle daft. He's home and away. He's in beating the drum. He's just loves it. He's just, to be fair to the few ultra boys that are there, they kind of look after him. I'm like, right, don't begin right in amongst it. I said, stay away. And then you look around and he's in the middle of them all. He's singing all the songs. He comes in from school and you can just hear banging on the wall, and he starts singing Partick Thistle songs. And if I missed a chance, how did you miss that today?
I was going to say,
can I get
your biggest critic?
Oh, you can't get a break.
Why did you not do this? Why did you pick? Of course, you'll be asking you why did you pick him or what you doing, you know.
He's like me the other night, Friday before I've left to come to the game. What's the team tonight? I'm like, find out when you get there. There you go. I'm away to my work. He's honestly he's like a wee old man. He's 9 years old. He'll be 10 in May. And he's a very good wee guy. His personality's brilliant. You can talk to him. They take him anywhere. He's everywhere. He's like a shadow, but he's a good boy.
Well, look, given everything else that's going on in your life and all your responsibilities, we're especially grateful for you making the time for one-on-one. Wish you and Mark all the very best for what lies ahead. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.